Hi, welcome to the Shepherd's Rest Doc Talk. This is episode 72A.
I'm Cam and this is Julie.
Yes.
This week's Torah Portion, we are moving on through Genesis. We're on Genesis 25:19 going to 28 verse 9. There's a lot going. Jacob and Esau. That's right. This week starts with, and this is the generations of, and this is going to be for Isaac. I found it interesting when you really look at the layout for chapter 25, it draws me back to Genesis 2, to Genesis 11.
Okay.
Because those are generations, right? And each time it's kind of show, okay, we're going to focus on these people and we're going to focus on these people. It's kind of drawing our attention to the proper line in which we're going to follow to eventually get to Messiah, to eventually see how the promise is going to be fulfilled. This is the only Torah portion that really deals with Isaac, because after this one, we go into Jacob, and this is the one that introduces Jacob. So while Isaac has this critical role of passing down the Abraham's, the baton, or Abraham's blessing, we see how that happens. There's not really a lot said about him, except for in 26. That's really kind of the meat of Isaac's life that we see.
Okay.
25:19 is the beginning of this week. It's where we actually get the name Toldot, which is generations for this week. And we see it's listed as Isaac is Abraham's son. Sarah is not mentioned.
Sorry.
Sarah is not mentioned. But previously, Keturah and Hagar are mentioned. The mothers are named. But here, no mother's named. And it hit me because he's the only begotten son of Genesis 22. He is the example of Messiah, who's the only begotten son. So no mother's listed because the significant is the pattern that as the son of Abraham, the son of the promise, which Messiah is, there's not a listing of a mother when we speak of him.
Oh, because they're not born of the flesh, they're born of the spirit. That's why I get it.
So those two. However,
she wouldn't be mentioned in this aspect because this is the promise. This is the born of the spirit analogy or the pattern that we need to be focusing on. And it's the seed.
See, Isaac is the seed. The others are the sons. When you have the seed, it's the male. This is the seed. This is where it's coming from.
Yes.
Yet,
this will eventually be Messiah.
That's right. But what's interesting is from this union, we have the tares and the wheat. Right. We have both of them. Because remember what we've learned from the pattern? It's from the midst, from among us, from among the midst that this deceiver comes.
Right. It's like they both come. The Messiah comes from the midst as well, and so does the deceiver.
Yeah, well, the anti-Messiah has to come from the same place, or nobody's going to think he might be Messiah.
Right.
I mean, he's got to look. Again, the semi-Messiah means he looks like him.
Right.
He acts like him as much as he can while still keeping his purpose, which is actually the opposite of the true Messiah.
Right.
So from this union, we have both produced. Once produced, they get to choose which path they go. Don't we see that today?
Yes.
We are all able to be born, grafted in, born as Abraham's children, brought in. But then are we willing to behave like our father or not? If we are, then we remain in the promise. If we don't, we go into the flesh. We have the twins. And it made me think of the old movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Twins?
Yes, twins and Danny DeVito. And one gets all the good and one gets all the bad. Well, I kind of see that this week. Out of Isaac comes the flesh and the spirit. Comes the one that has the short, fat one and the tall, strong one, right? Yes. And even Jacob's called the complete one, the one who is Tamim, perfect, who dwells in the tents, and Esau's the rugged, hunter, the rough one. We see at the end of 25, he despises his birthright. All right, big picture. How many of us come in cheapened. That's what despisement. He cheapened it. He didn't care. It was really worthless to him. How many of us come in through Messiah and then the scripture, Torah, is worthless to us?
I know.
We cheapen salvation itself because we say we don't have any responsibility to look like our Messiah or to
all
look
the
like
blessings, and that we don't understand that curses and blessings are built into the system.
Right.
We just think we're exempt from any curse.
Yeah, we just get the blessing. Yet, right here, we see that the one who despised it, who thought that way, was the deceiver. He deceived himself. Isn't that our problem?
Yes.
He deceives himself into thinking he's
not
got
important.
it. Right. Yeah. It doesn't matter that I sold that. I'm still going to get the blessing later.
Right.
And then yet, in doing that, he put Jacob in Jacob's mom, Rebecca, put him in this weird position. Because she understood from back in 25 that, hey, guess what? You're going to be, Jacob, the second one, was going to be the leader, was going to be the one who the oldest served.
Right.
And even in 27, when we see the blessings being given, we have where the blessing given to Jacob, whom he thinks is Esau, is in abundance. But if you notice, it's not the Abrahamic blessing in totality. We see in verse 28 of 27, it says, "And Elohim give you the dew of the heavens and the fatness of the earth and the plenty of grain and wine. Let people serve you and the nations bow down to you. Be master over your brothers and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be those cursing you and blessed be those blessing you." All right, that part is Abraham's.
Right.
But it doesn't talk about the land in specifics. It doesn't talk about the blessing of the world through the seed. There's a lot of things that we don't see there. Yet we do see in 28 when Isaac now is fully aware of who he's given it to. Then he literally is saying, hey, may El Shaddai, and that's in 8:3, may El Shaddai. El Shaddai is the first time mentioned in 17:1 of Genesis. The next time we see that is here. Okay, that is now going through Isaac, who was the promised seed, and being given to the next generation, El Shaddai. It's very significant. We only see El Shaddai used 4 or 5 times in Genesis. Really, I think it may be 6 times all the way through the Torah, where we really see it being used, again, always hooking with that promise and carrying it on.
Is that right?
This is the one that says you're going to be fruitful and increase. You're going to become a great people. You get it. It says, and give you the blessing of Abraham. El Shaddai is going to give you the blessing of Abraham. Now that's everything. That's like the whole enchilada in one box.
Right.
Bingo.
Right.
There's no question of what's left over for Esau now. None.
Right.
Because he now understands that whole thing just got given to him. And willfully, okay? And he's also told that in your seed, right? You and your seed with you, and that you will inherit the land of your sojournings, which Elohim gave to Abraham. This can't make him happy.
I know. Yes.
However, here is a little nugget that we have lost through our generations because we don't know the Hebrew.
Okay.
When we look at 27, the blessing that actually came to Esau, that in the end makes him hate Jacob even more.
Okay.
We always read it, and it says in 39, it says, "See, your dwelling is in the fatness of the earth, and the dew of the heaven is above." But what's weird is that's basically the same thing that 28 says that he gave to Jacob. Well, how can they each have the same one? If you give this part, you can't give it again, but you can give the opposite. The Hebrew, what's missing is it says away from. So he's telling Esau in 39, you will be away from this land, which means you have to get out of the land before you can even prosper. And he does. Remember, he goes and he lives over in Sierra, right? Over in the mountain. That's his area. Even later when we see in 32, where he comes and he sees Jacob coming back into the land.
Yes.
He's on his way back. He's just passing through.
Oh, okay.
Because he understands The promise his dad gave him was, you got to get out of the land. Let's remember, these guys are between 60 and 65, the twins.
Years old?
Years old.
Right now?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Here's
one of the reasons why you know this, is if you do the math backwards from Jacob's life, you end up in the 60s here. But here's something that tells you they couldn't have been older than 63. Because it says in 28, Esau decides that he's going to go get a wife from Ishmael. And it says he goes to Ishmael and receives the wife. Mm-hmm. Ishmael dies when they are 63 years old. So if he personally sees Ishmael, he can't be older than 63 years old to get this other wife.
Okay. Wow.
So the idea is you just got...
I need a timetable.
Yeah. You just got... So Esau's whole thing is, you just got a blessing for Abraham. Fine, I'm going to the other child. You got Isaac's. I'm going to see if I can't get all of Ishmael's.
Going to the other side.
Yeah, I'm going to the dark side. I'm going to see if I can get all of Ishmael's, or at least a part of Ishmael's. So he goes and he makes a covenant into the Ishmael line.
Wow.
Yeah. So we just keep seeing this division. Mm-hmm. And
it shows his true intentions.
It does.
You know?
And I wish that our word was properly interpreted to say away from.
Right.
Because that makes a big difference. Otherwise, it just looks like, oh.
They got the same blessing.
Right. You know, they both got the same thing, and they didn't. They literally got two sides of the coin. Yeah. Now let's jump to the middle of this week's portion, which is chapter 26. We see that after the birthright was given at the end of 25, which is also the death of Abraham, famine comes. Isn't that interesting? Abraham's gone, and now famine hits. Why? Because Isaac is going to have to go through the same type of testing. He's not on daddy's, how do I say it? He's not coming in on his coattails.
Yes.
He's got to do it himself, right?
It's got to become real to him.
Right.
Just like our kids.
Right. Now, we know that if Isaac was 60 years old when the kids were born, they were 15 when Abraham died. So now we've got anywhere from him being between the age of 75 or older, 75 significant, because when did Abraham start to wander through? At 75.
Okay.
And now we have Isaac.
The famine hits. He's starting to wonder.
This is exactly what happens in chapter 12 of Genesis when Abraham comes into the land. Famine hits right after he gets the promise.
Okay.
Abraham's dead. The promise is completely Isaac's. Of course, it already was anyway, because we knew that from last week. But now he's got to walk in it. Mm-hmm. Daddy's gone.
Yeah.
And he walks in it, and he goes straight to Ger, which is where Abraham already had the covenant with these people.
Okay.
And as he's walking, they are like, man, you are so blessed, just like your daddy.
Yeah.
They're like,
this looks familiar.
Yes. He comes in, he lies. Now, talk about generational curses, right? Or patterns. He lies about his wife being his sister. But what's interesting is here, Rebecca is not taken. They were afraid of what might have happened had they decided to take her. But we don't know how he would have reacted had that happened. He may have said, wait, it really is my wife. We don't know that. Mm-hmm. Then we have the well issue again. Now, I see Messiah in this all over the place. And there's this well, this water, this living water.
Okay.
And it's been hidden. It was buried. Okay. Not until Isaac came and redug it was it found. Isn't that like Messiah? The living water, when Messiah came and redug that well and brought forth the living water of what is truly in Torah. Okay? And that's what's happening for us today.
I know. I was just about to say that. We're like the 7 churches.
Yeah.
Right?
Ooh,
and you've got Philadelphia is the one that...
Yeah, what do you do with that living water?
Yeah,
I mean, we're here in a time that those wells...
They start guarding the word.
Right, are dug up. And that well is what, I guess, cemented the deal of reminding them we're in covenant, behave.
Yes.
Well, when we get that word,
exactly what it does.
Well, right. We find
we're in
Torah,
covenant, let's behave.
Exactly. And now we know how to.
Yes.
Because we have the Torah to go, oh, that's what that well looks like.
And I love that because Philadelphia is the only one that takes the covenant seriously. Yeah. Because they guard it and do what they can. And that's being scattered. You know, the churches are to the northern kingdom.
Right.
So being scattered, we're the... I say we, the Church of Philadelphia, the ones who are understanding Torah are taking it seriously and knowing that it does matter.
Yes.
He doesn't change. He really is the same yesterday, today, and forever.
And that living water, Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we know without the Holy Spirit, we can't do it.
Yes.
We cannot fully keep it. But with the Holy Spirit, we can have not just understanding how to guard it, understanding how to keep it, to walk in it, to drink from it.
Mm-hmm.
What?
It's during a famine. And like Amos says about there will be a famine of the word. And that's exactly what we're having now.
It's not a famine of the word. It's a famine of the understanding of the word.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Because
the word's
out
everywhere.
There.
Yes, the word is everywhere. It's read in every church everywhere, but it's not taken seriously.
Right.
It's just something that you hear. Right.
Well, it's the tickling of the ear.
Well, now you understand why Yeshua said, unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood. You're right. We think that that's communion, but it is really what he stands for. It's the entire word. How serious do we take it?
Right, yeah. Because look, if you're going to eat something and digest it, you're committing to it.
That's right.
I mean, because it could kill you or give you life, but you're definitely, and the truth is that would be the same with the word, huh?
Yes.
It's going to kill you or give you life.
Which side of the coin do you want to be on?
That's right. Wow. Yeah. At the end of this whole interaction with Abimelech, we see this odd, and Esau was 40 years old and took wives from the land. So to me, that's a hint. This is between their 15 and 40 years old, the twins, that this is happening with Isaac. Isaac is walking it, and the kids are watching how he walks it. Having to go back and reclaim what his father had originally claimed, right? Or set foundations for. These boys are watching it. And Esau's immediate thing is, I'm going to take brides from local women. That's his response.
I'm going to assimilate.
Yeah. But Jacob never does.
Right.
Jacob does not assimilate. He doesn't even marry until his dad and mom are like, go up there and go get a wife. From our own people.
Right.
Because again, the bride has to be brought out of the people. It can't be brought into the people.
That makes so much sense why we have to be grafted into Israel if we're going to be the bride.
Right. We have to already have come in.
Right.
And then
it can't be an afterthought.
Again, Psalms 45.
That's why the Spirit and the bride say come. Because the people who chose not to are the ones that are on the outside.
Oh, yes. It's still together. Yeah.
Light bulbs going on. Got it.
That brings us to the end of this week's discussion. While we were just mid-rashing over, but what about this and this and this and this? We'll have to save it for another day. I'd say a rainy day, but it's already rainy.
Good one.
Yeah. Well, we thank you so much for joining us this week. We hope you have a marvelous next few days as we count down to Sabbath. And we will see you on the flip side with Julie and the prophets. Shalom. 23, and in the past, Sarah is, she is a
she's our mother.
Yeah, she's the mother of the faith. She is a matriarch. Yeah, you can't. No gender changing now. She's the matriarch, and